Hello. Good morning.
Good morning, and welcome to another episode of Straight Talk. My name is Venice Bautista.
And I'm Chito Lozada.
Yes. Joining us today is the Director General of Philippine Economic Zone Authority to discuss with us their plan and programs in securing more investments and setting up more economic zones in the country. Let us
correct.
welcome Ms. Charito Plaza.
Hi, Venice. Hi, Chito.
Hi.
Thank you
Morning
for this
po.
opportunity.
As we were already, Venice, we were already talking before this episode. So we were discussing the number of eco zones that is being developed right now this year. So we want to get it straight from the head of the Philippine Economic Zone Authority. How many eco zones do we see this year?
Actually, operating eco zones of PEZA is 416.
Okay.
So half of these are IT BPOs, mga IT BPOs where the IT BPOs and TPOs, call centers are located. Then we have 74 manufacturing eco zones. So ito yung mga factories, no? We also have agro-industrial ecozones. So this includes plantations of crops. No? So kasama dito si Del Monte, si Dole. No? We have several agro-industrial ecozones. We also have tourism ecozones. Meron din tayong medical tourism. These are hospitals and specialized clinics, no? To cater to not just Filipino patients but foreign patients. No? So, Chito, Venice, just to give a background of what PEZA is all about. No?
Yes,
Si PEZA is the only government agency who is authorized to register lands and buildings. Public lands, public buildings, and private lands, no, to register as economic zones. So ngayon, itong economic zones natin, ito yung dapat dito i-locate yung ating mga investors. And who are our investors that must be located inside the ecozone? Ito yung mga export, no? So mga exporter ang aming client, export companies who are into manufacturing, refinery, processing, assembly, IT BPO, meron din tayong agro-industrial, agroforestry, aquamarine, mineral processing ecozone. And lately, gumawa tayo ng bagong type of an ecozone, yung ating defense industrial complex, so that we can invite, no, attract yung mga defense industries of the world, like yung nagmamanufacture, gumagawa ng mga military aircraft, seacrafts, weapons, vehicles, no, and others. And then another new type of an ecozone that PEZA created is the KIST, Knowledge, Innovation, Science, and Technology Parks. Ito yung ecozone na in-offer natin sa mga state and private universities and colleges. Kasi for decades, ang laki ng mga lupa ng ating mga schools, no, mga state, especially state universities, hindi nagamit. So, itong ating programa sa PEZA na ma-convert natin lahat yung mga idle lands, which is millions of hectares idle lands, ma-convert natin ito into different types of ecozone, so that this is where we're going to locate, no, the different types of industries that fits the ecozone. Kaya meron tayong, pag ang lupa ay agricultural, we call it agro-industrial ecozone. So diyan natin ilolocate yung investor who will be into food and agriculture related industries, no, like yung food processing, no, mga livestock, poultry, etc. No? Pati na rin yung plantation of crops, katulad nga ng Del Monte, Dole, ito yung registered na agro-industrial ecozone at saka industries. No? So, meron tayong tourism, pag merong ang lupa ay endowed with natural tourism attractions like White Sand Beach, merong waterfalls, or it's a mountain overlooking a very beautiful view. So, specific din si PEZA, kailangan yung locator or investor ay yung mga tourism-related industries like yung magtatayo ng resort, theme parks, wellness and naturopathy villages, pati yung retirement village can be located in our tourism ecozone kasi napakaganda ng ambience. No? Meron tayong mineral processing economic zone. Ito naman yung sa mga mining lands natin.
Yeah.
Kasi meron tayong almost 9 million hectares na mineral lands, no, or mining lands. So, gusto ni PEZA, gusto namin na mahinto na yung pag-export ng raw minerals kasi sinasama yung lupa, ini-export, no? So, if we will put a mineral processing economic zone, this will attract yung mga factories na nagpo-process ng minerals into different finished products for export. No? So with that, ma-utilize natin responsibly yung ating mga natural resources, yung mga minerals, etc. No? So meron din tayong agroforestry para mabalik natin yung wood industry. Kasi sa ngayon, meron tayong almost 9 million hectares na timberland, idle, no? Kasi in-stop ng gobyerno yung wood industry. And very ironic because we are importing wood, no? But we have almost 15 million hectares ang timberland natin. Idle ngayon, no? So ito yung ginagawa ni PEZA na lahat ng idle lands, which is millions of hectares around the country, can be utilized and can be transformed into economic zones of various kinds so that ma-attract natin lahat ng mga industriya sa buong mundo na ilocate sa appropriate economic zone. So yun ang ating programa. So sa ngayon, we have 413 or 15 economic zones. 76 are manufacturing. We have 237 IT centers. We have 60 IT parks. We have tourism economic zone, 17. Medical tourism parks, 2. Medical tourism center, also 2. Then agro-industrial economic zone, 22. So ito yung operating ngayon. Kaya si PEZA ang biggest contributor to export income sa ating gobyerno. Like for example, we are contributing 65% sa mga export income from commodities and goods, no? And then 85% ang ating contribution sa export income from IT BPOs, no? Yung mga service export income. So, we contribute also the biggest direct employment. So, yung ating 413 economic zones, 15, and then 4,566 industries registered with PEZA.
Yes, ma'am.
4,665 tala, no? Industries registered with PEZA. Sila itong nag-create ng 1.6 million directly employed sa ating economic zones at saka companies registered with PEZA. So we contribute 15 to 18% of the gross domestic product of the country. Malaki. So yun ang aming contribution.
During the pandemic period, ma'am, nagkaroon ba ng major impact sa operations ninyo? Yung...
Yes, syempre because that's why it's called pandemic, no? Kasi the whole world is affected, no?
Correct.
So the whole world, just like the Philippines, we suffered from the decline. Nag-decline medyo yung ating investments, no? But we were able to cope up with the pandemic, no? In fact, we took advantage of the advantages the opportunities created by the crisis, by the pandemic, no? And at the same time, we address the threats, like the threats on the health, no, of the health and the jobs of our workers, no. So we're very proud that we did a balancing act, talagang nababalansin namin yung pag-address sa crisis, no. Like for one, yung nagbibigay kami ng business assistance and reprieve sa ating mga investor locators, like yung ating mga IT BPOs, for example, and others, no. We allow them the work from home arrangement. Sa normal times, 30% lang ang ina-allow natin na work from home. Since the pandemic, we increased it to 90%. And ang nag-operate continuously, 90%, no, nationwide, 90 to 98% actually ang continuously nag-ooperate, hindi nagsasara, hindi umaalis sa Pilipinas because of this assistance and reprieves that we provide our locators, no. So kung ma-flash natin yung operator natin, yung business assistance and reliefs, please. Yung mga business assistance and reliefs natin ay wala ba? Okay, anyway, ang ating binigay na business assistance and relief sa ating mga investors, locators, and ecozone operators, unang-una, we increased the work from home from 30% to 90%. Then, second is yung kanilang COVID-related expenses like yung pag-purchase ng mga PPEs, yung disinfection of the company and the ecozone premises, no, yung gastos nila sa additional port charges kasi there were periods na ang dami ng na stock nag-pile up dun sa ating mga ports, sa ating mga piers, no. So nag-increase syempre yung kanilang babayaran. So yung kanilang increase in the usual port charges. Kasama ito sa pinapa-allow natin with the approval of the PEZA board and the BIR, lahat ng COVID-related expenses deductible na sa kanilang income tax. So parang si gobyerno din ang naggastos, no? Kasi deductible sa mga income tax ng ating investors. Kaya Chito, Venice, we're very proud na with this business assistance and reliefs given by PEZA and the government, na-maintain natin yung jobs, hindi 1.6 million pa rin yung nakapagtrabaho despite the pandemic. Na-maintain natin yung export income, no? Although may slight lang na difference compared last year. Tsaka yung continuous pa rin yung interest ng mga new investors and even existing investors, nag-expand pa rin sila, nag-expand, no? Although, syempre, medyo may control because hindi nga natin malalaman hanggang kailan itong pandemic. No? So, at least nobody stopped their operation. Nobody transferred, no, na umalis sa Pilipinas kasi po naalalayan natin sa PEZA ng ating gobyerno yung business assistance and reliefs that we provided them.
May adjustments po ba do sa incentives na binibigay? I mean, kasi yung the tendency of the government now is to move away from incentives and to provide more direct, targeted perks.
Oh,
Yes.
Naapektuhan po ba yung sa PEZA or ganun pa rin ang binibigay ninyong mga...
Nung sinimulan ang pag-uusap tungkol sa create law, no? Tungkol sa, we used to call it train to, naging trabaho bill sa House of Representatives, then it became SIPIRA, and now it was passed into a law. We call it already the create law, no?
Yes.
So, nung nagsimula ang usapin sa pagbabago ng incentives, ay talagang naapektuhan yung ating investment, no? Kasi because of the uncertainties, no? Natatakot yung ating investor na, nako, baka babaguhin ng incentives package. Actually, ang feeling ng lahat is nandito kami sa Pilipinas, sa PEZA, kasi napakaganda ng incentive. So bakit babaguhin ng gobyerno? No? So anyway, sa lahat ng diskusyon, finally, we have approved, we have now the CREATE law. So itong CREATE law, thanks God, all of our incentives are retained. Na-retain naman. No? Ang nabago lang is yung mga existing investors, for example, yung kanilang sunset period, nilagyan sila ng sunset na up to 10 years. Meaning, yung kanilang 5% gross income earning na hanggang 10 years na lang kasi mag-transform ito or papasok na to sa special corporate income tax. No? So, SCIT na ang babasihan ng kanilang income tax. No? Hindi na yung gross but the special corporate income tax. No? Pero kung titingnan naman natin, halos magkapareho na rin if we compute it by figures, halos magkakapareho na rin ang ating SCIP with other countries, no, in the ASEAN. So, we're thankful to our legislators, to our economic team, no, the chairman of the FIRB is DOF Secretary Rodriguez, for listening. At least nakinig sila sa mungkahi ng PEZA, mungkahi ng ating mga industry locators, no, ng ating mga investors. Kaya I would say na we are still globally competitive, no, compared sa ibang countries. Chito, Venice, ito kasing EcoZone program, we are now competing globally, no? Kasi ito na yung approach ng iba't ibang countries. They also created economic zones and then they provide incentives and even subsidies to the prospective investors, no? So nagpo-compete tayo sa incentives, sa ambience, sa attraction ng ating EcoZone, no? Yeah. So yun ang ginagawa namin sa PEZA na kailangan competitive tayo or mas marami ang advantages if the investors will choose the Philippines and PEZA's economic zones to invest.
Yeah, we would like to ask you about the regarding sa naman yung sa economic community, yung and the role of PEZA in it. But, Venice.
Yes, but before that, let's take a short break. Ms. Charito.
Botomoto Halalan 2022, the Daily Tribune special coverage.
Magandang araw mga katribu! Narito na ang mga makakasama nyo tuwing umaga sa programang Gising Na. Roy Pelovelo, Compi Manalo, Atty. Lia Badillo Crisostomo, Vernon Velasco, Kim Sancha at Jerk Balagtas. Abangan ang programang Gising Na mula alas 8 hanggang alas 9 ng umaga sa Facebook page ng Daily Tribune.
Ilabas na ang mainit na kape at samahan kami sa inyong pag-almusal, mga katribo.
Sama-sama natin alamin ang mga natatagong istorya sa mga latest na kaganapan sa loob at labas ng bansa.
Simulan natin ang bawat umaga with good vibes sa mga informative and recreational segments ng aming programa.
Maaari niyo rin ibahagi sa amin ang inyong opinion via Daily Tribune Facebook page at Tribune Now sa YouTube.
Makichika na rin sa latest showbiz happenings, mga katribo.
Kaya naman, magkita-kita po tayo mula Lunes hanggang Biyernes, alas 8 hanggang alas 9 ng umaga at magsama-sama po tayo sa
Gising Na!
Botomoto Halalan 2022, the Daily Tribune special coverage.
Hi, Hi, we are still here at Straight Talk with the Philippine Economic Zone Authority, Director General Charito Plaza, on securing more investments, setting up more economic zones, and also being globally competitive. Now, let's get back po sa mga katanungan pa ni Sir Chito.
Welcome back, ma'am. Recently kasi, ma'am, let me ask you this. We have the ASEAN Economic Community. It started last year. Then we will have the RCEP. And then there's the plan to speed up the formation of the free trade area in APEC. How are you preparing for this trend towards more economic free market, ma'am?
Yeah. Well, exactly, no. Itong the behavior or the attitude or the mindset, no, of everybody in the world, no, should be continuation of our quest for economic growth and development. Huwag tayong magpa-hostage sa COVID, no. Kasi COVID could only be one. There will be more crisis, no, or pandemic that may happen. We never know because these are natural crisis, no, happening in the world, no. Kaya tayo, in order to survive, humanity should not stop. Dapat huwag huminto ang sanglibutan, huwag huminto ang humanity, no? Kasi tuloy yung ating, para mabuhay tayo, tuloy yung ating quest for growth, no? To develop our lands, to make or to create a comfortable life, no? Kaya tuloy-tuloy yung mga needs and wants of humanity. So sino ang makaka-address nito? Industries and businesses. Kaya dapat huwag tayong magpa-lockdown, huwag tayong magpa-hostage dito sa pandemic na to. Kasi baka meron pang, God forbid, no, tuloy-tuloy, no, yung mga different types of pandemics that may happen in the world, no. Kaya kami dito sa PEZA, we continue, no, as if there is no COVID, there is no pandemic. Kasi si PEZA ang sumasagot, isa sa mga investment promotion agency na sumasagot sa pag-create ng investment, employment, development of our lands, no, creation of livelihood, of jobs, no. Kami yung isa sa mga investment promotion agency na kailangan huwag huminto sa pag-invite, pag-create ng mga investors, pag-create ng economic zones, no, pag-develop sa ating mga natural and human resource. So, ito yung aming goal. Ang goal ng PEZA is first, we want to fully industrialize the country, no?
Yes, sir.
Second, gusto namin na magkaroon tayo ng every Filipino will have a job or a livelihood, no? Kasi we have to face the reality. Hindi kaya ng gobyerno natin na mabigyan ng trabaho at livelihood ang bawat Pilipino, no? So, we have also to admit or to accept the reality na hindi kaya ng ating gobyerno na tayo lang ang magtatayo ng economic zone, tayo ang magtatayo ng lahat ng mga industriya na kailangan natin. That's why we really need to attract and to invite more investors to help the government create economic zones, to help the government in creating jobs and industries, to create or bring in new technology so that we can attain total development, no? So, kailangan talaga natin ng investor. Filipino investors, foreign investors, we have to attract them to locate in the Philippines so that sila yung magbibigay ng economic growth and development sa ating bansa. At they will be the source, no, of our total development, no. Sa ngayon, kami dito sa PEZA, ang pinakamalaking foreign investor natin ay mga Hapon, no, Japanese. Japanese is 27% almost, no. Then second to the Japanese are the Filipinos, no. So meron din tayong parami na ng mga Filipino-owned export companies. The next is yung America. No? US investors, they account 15% of our investors in PEZA. No? Then mga European countries, then mga ASEAN countries. So, kaya nga po, 80% or more of our investors, the export companies registered with PEZA, are foreign investors. Bakit natin gusto na bakit export-oriented si PEZA? No? Tinatanong nga, bakit export-oriented kami sa PEZA? Kasi nga po, if we go back to our Economics 101,
Yes, sir.
Export versus import. No? Pag export kasi, nagbebenta tayo, we're selling our products to the other countries of the world.
Correct.
And they will pay us in dollars kasi si dollar ang biggest value, no? So in import and export, we use the dollar as the payment, the currency to pay our importation and exportation. So again, pag mag-export tayo, binebenta natin ang ating mga produkto sa ibang bansa. Pero pag nag-i-import tayo, we are buying the products of other countries. So pag nagbabay tayo, nag-import tayo, ang binabayad natin, dolyar. So pinapalabas natin ang ating dolyar. But in export, we are infusing, we are letting the dollar currency enter our economy. Kaya talagang ang goal ng PEZA is we have to really expand our export capability. So we invite investors who are into export. Okay? Then another goal of PEZA is kung pwede magiging self-reliant na tayo, self-sustaining at saka resource-generating ang ating economy. Kasi ngayon, Chito, Venice, ang Pilipinas isa sa mga tinatawag na import-dependent. No? Ito nga, nasasayangan ako kasi nung umupo ako as PEZA DG, pina-inventory ko yung mga land holdings ng Pilipinas. So I found out now we have 30 million hectares of land holdings. 15 million hectares are timberland. Pero ngayon, idle. Kasi in-stop ang wood industry. And very ironic, we are buying wood from other countries. Kaya gumawa kami ng agroforestry ecozone para ma-restore back yung wood industry. No? Then we have 9 million hectares agricultural land. Bakit tayo nag-i-import ng rice, sugar, coffee, halos lahat ng kinakain natin, karamihan is imported, no? Yet we have 9 million hectares of agricultural land. Kaya gumawa si PEZA ng agro-industrial economic zone para maggamit lahat yung mga agricultural lands natin at magiging self-sufficient tayo sa pagkain. Walang magugutom na Pilipino. So yung extra food natin na supply, ito yung i-export natin. No? Ganun dapat ang ideal setup. No? Then, I found out also that we have 8 million hectares of how do you call this? Mining land. But why are we importing the finished products of minerals? Pareho nitong construction materials. 95% or more, ini-import natin yung mga steel, steel bars, etc. Ini-import natin from China, binibili natin sa China. Si China naman, binibili yung ating mga raw minerals. Kasama ang lupa. Kasi hindi nga process. So kasama ang lupa. Kaya nasira yung ating environment, no? Pag walang mineral processing ecozone. So PEZA was able to invite two, no? Ngayon meron tayong Japanese companies who are processing our minerals into different finished products for export, no? Then we really emphasize na kailangan i-rehabilitate yung mga lupa na kinunan ng mga minerals. Which our industries are doing. No? Kasi nga, pinopromote din ni PEZA yung environment-friendly industrialization. We cannot sacrifice our environment, our natural resources because of money. No? Hindi pwede. So, dalawa yung aming non-negotiable factors na sinasabi namin sa ating mga investors. Number one, the protection of our environment. So we will give them incentives if they will bring in new technology that will protect the environment. Second, non-negotiable factor, to respect and to promote the rights and welfare of the Filipino workers. No? So, while we allow, isang incentive natin is ang investors natin can bring foreign nationals na workers nila, pero 5% lang. Because 95% of their workforce should be Filipinos.
Correct.
So, yun ang ating non-negotiable factors, protection and respect of the rights and welfare of the Filipino workers and the protection of our environment. So sa ngayon, talagang very competitive tayo sa buong mundo. No? Tinitingnan nila and one good news that we're coming sa PEZA, we are really inspired to move on and very aggressive and dynamic in our programs and strategies and approaches. No? Yung hope namin, talagang napakalaki ng hope namin na we will realize that dream na maging fully industrialized tayo. No? In fact, pagpapasalamat kami kay Presidente Duterte kasi inisyu niya yung Administrative Order 18 na kailangan palawakin pa natin. Gagawa tayo ng maraming economic zones in the countryside. So ang ating mga LGUs, mga probinsya, mga munisipyo, mga syudad ngayon, ay excited na magkaroon ng sarili nilang economic zone kasi nakikita nila sa mga models of the LGUs who are hosting economic zone. No? Like for example, Calabar Zone, ang dami na nating economic zone dyan. Sa Baguio, meron tayong economic zone at dumadami na rin. At meron tayo sa Pampanga, no? Meron din tayo sa Mactan, Cebu. Ito yung then of course sa Bataan, no? Nandyan si Subic, nandyan si BCDA, si Clark, si Aurora Ecozone, Zamboanga Ecozone, Cagayan Ecozone. Although itong mga ito, hindi sila under ng PEZA. No? We are similarly called as investment promotion agencies. Pero yung kaibahan ni PEZA, kasi si PEZA lang yung nagre-register, authorized to register lands and buildings to become economic zones. And we also invite investors or locators inside our economic zones. Sila Subic, BCDA, Clark, etc. Sa sarili lang nilang teritoryo sila makapag-imbita ng mga locators. No? Hindi sila authorized to register lands and buildings to become economic zones. At ang kaibahan din, yung aming mga ecozone sa PEZA ay talagang presidentially proclaimed. Pinoproclaim ng presidente as the final approval yung mga lupa and buildings that are registered as economic zones ay talagang through a presidential proclamation. So this gives assurance and stability sa mga investors na maglulocate sa ating mga economic zones. So, yun.
Sa mga less developed regions, ma'am, meron bang may set up na ecosystem this year?
Kaya nga ito, Chito, halos wala kaming pahinga sa PEZA. No? We work 24/7. Hindi lang kami nag-iimbita ng mga foreign investors, pati ating mga Filipinos. No? Kasi ang isang gusto kong makita sana na yung mga ang ating mga kababayan mismo, no, the Filipinos will be the leading export companies, no. Magiging tayo ang magli-lead as export companies, no. So hand in hand we have programs to develop the skills, no, the skills of the Filipino workers para maging multi-knowledge, multi-skilled at saka world-class workers. Kasi ngayon, Chito, Venice, tayo yung tinatawag na most sought after workforce, no? Kasi ang mga Filipino workforce are young, globally knowledge, no? Can speak English, so hindi mahirap turuan, no? And then of course yung ating character traits ng mga Pilipino ay we're so friendly, hospitable, and very helpful, no? Kaya yung ating mga foreign investors, Venice, Chito, they consider the Philippines as their second home, no? Because they really feel comfortable working with the Filipinos and staying, doing business in the Philippines. So isa sa ating mga programa pala sa PEZA, no? Ngayon ay we are going to fully automate, no? Magiging full automation na kami. Okay. So sa pagbabayad pa lang ng mga fees nila, no, application fees, mga import-export permit, etc. Online na, meron na kaming e-payment system, no, na e-payment na, you don't have to go to PEZA to pay, no. Meron na tayong online payment, online PEZA fees, no, na in partnership with the iPay Mayig Philippines, no. So, yun. Then, we will soon fully automate, meaning from application to registration and everything, yung hingi sila ng mga sa operation, sa finance and management, sa ecosystem development and other, doing business or transacting with PEZA, naka-online na lahat yan. So, we will soon be fully automated. And then, meron kaming tinatayong Incident Command Center at saka system na meron kaming mga CCTV in all our ecozones na monitor namin yung mga goings on, especially in times of disaster calamities and emergencies, na monitor namin at ma-respond kaagad yung mga gagawin o mga disaster or calamities and emergencies na nangyayari sa aming mga ecozone, no? And to go further, ginawa naming mga military reservists, Chito, Venice, yung ating mga PEZA employees, yung ating ecozone workers, including the locators, no? Because we want to assure our investors, our locators, and of course the workers, na habang nandyan sila sa loob ng ecozone, no, they are assured of safety and security. Kasi kung anong mga emergency disasters, for example, marunong mag-respond lahat ng mga workers sa ating ecozone, no? So, ma-assure lalo na yung ating mga investors na talagang there is safety and security doing business in the ecozone. And further, binago natin ang concept ng ating ecozone. Kasi yung traditional ecozone natin, puro factories lang yan, or mga ITBPO, no? etc. No? Ngayon, binago natin ang concept, creating or transforming our economic zones into township. No? Township na siya. So sa ngayon, yung ating 4 na public zones ng PEZA, gagawin natin itong mga modelo ng township, no? So what are we going to do, or what are we doing now? We are now redesigning and transforming our 4 public zones to become models of what? Township. So yung mga natitira pang mga lupa sa where the manufacturing or the what is this? Itong mga factories, for example, are located. Yung mga in-between lots na hindi na-utilize, doon natin itatayo yung mga commercial facilities and even residential facilities or condominium so that ang ating mga investors, locators, workers, with the township concept, that is where they're going to work, live, learn, and play. No? So lalagyan din natin ng hospital.
Self-sustaining.
Lalagyan natin ng, meron kaming sariling PNP station, fire station, soon maglalagay din tayo ng mga schools, no? So it's really a community, a town by itself. And then it will be a green, healthy, sustainable, and smart economic zones, no? So because we hope to make our ecozones as a tourism destination, ecozone tourism destination. So lahat ng mundo, no, they will look up the Philippine economic zones na models of environment-friendly industrialization, green, healthy, sustainable, and smart. So smart because later makikita natin yung shuttle vehicle na nag-ikot sa economic zone ay mga e-vehicles, mga electronic operated vehicles. Ito yung magpipick up sa mga workers and everybody working in the economic zones, no? Then, dadalhin sila dun sa labas ng ecozone. Doon din magtatayo tayo ng commercial passenger terminal para yung mga passenger commercial jeepneys, buses or what, doon sila maghihintay sa labas. Another terminal that we will build para doon dadalhin ng shuttle service ang mga workers, everybody working in the ecozone, doon sa commercial passenger terminal. So in other words, we want to preserve, we want to preserve the safety, the security, the privacy of the economic zones. Kasi meron tayong mga factories na medyo sensitive kasi meron silang, they are storing chemicals, and then we want to protect also yung ating, lalo na yung mga foreign investors natin. Kasi kung gagawin mong open to the public yung ating ecozone, may mga nangyayari na kasi na merong ini-export, ini-export yung ating mga foreign investors, natatakot umuwi, So we want to avoid that, Kailangan confidential. We have to keep the confidentiality, the privacy, especially of our foreign investors. Otherwise, kung i-open mo to the public yung economic zone natin, posible na magiging biktima sila ng mga extortion, kidnapping, etc. etc. So, we want to assure our investors na pag nasa economic zone sila ng PEZA, they are assured of safety and security.
So, Venice, do you have any other questions?
Actually, gusto ko lang po ma-point out na parang walang pandemic sa PEZA, no? Tuloy-tuloy lang yung expansion, improvement, giving employment, and also at the same time, all the while, they're securing and ensuring our investors.
Yes. In fact, Venice, Chito, we are very proud na because of the continuous disinfection daily, almost daily yung disinfection sa mga ecozones natin at saka mga company premises, very conscious at very cooperative ang ating mga investors and locators sa mga minumungkahin ng PEZA na kailangan maglinis, mag-disinfect tayo, yung physical distancing, like we increase the work from home, para yung at least 50% lang ng skeletal force ang magre-report doon sa ating mga companies and ecozones. So napanatili natin yung protection of the health. Like for example, thanks God, sa 1.6 million workers ng directly working sa ating ecozones and industries, less than 1% ang nagka-COVID. They got this when they went home, not in the ecozone. And then, so far, thanks God, also, 100 plus lang yung namatay. Again, they acquired the COVID when they went home. Na-expose sila dun sa communities. Because, so we can really say and tell the investors na continue to invest, to locate in our economic zones because you are not only assured of safety, security, but also the good health, good health. Like yung ginawa ng PEZA, we lobbied to the IATF na dapat isa ang mga ecozone workers natin, PEZA employees, including our locators and investors, to be given free COVID vaccine. Initially kasi gusto ng gobyerno na yung mga locators or investors ang bibili ng sarili nilang COVID vaccine for their workers. So we came in, pwede bang isama yung ating ecozone workers, even our investors and the PEZA workers sa 70% herd immunity target. So thanks God, IATF considered our request. So ang ating mga ecozone workers ngayon, PEZA workers, ecozone and industry workers are among the A4. So ang mga essential workers because they are the economic frontliners. So we should keep them healthy. So LGUs naman na merong ecozone are very, very helpful. In fact, ang dami nating mga LGUs na talagang binigyan kami ng exclusive lane for PEZA and the ecozone workers. Kaya hopefully, and then we are also allowed by the government, by the IATF na magkaroon kami ng sariling vaccination centers inside the economic zone. So we have several vaccination centers na for the ecozone workers para hindi sila magkukumpetensya sa communities, pagpipila doon sa COVID vaccine. So marami na tayong ecozone na may sariling vaccination centers sa loob ng ecozone.
So ma'am, 100% na ba yung mga ecozone employees na vaccinated?
Hindi pa natin na yung 100%. Siguro dyan tayo sa 30 to 40% pa lang. One of the reasons is matagal, nadidelay yung
Arrival.
delivery ng mga
Delivery.
vaccines, no? Kasi nakikipagkompetensya tayo sa buong mundo
Correct.
in ordering these vaccines. Kaya may period na pagdating ng mga vaccines, ang dami na vaccinated. Then several weeks or even months na nadidelay yung delivery ng order natin abroad, no? Kaya by the way, that's one reason why we in PEZA are attracting, inviting mga COVID vaccine manufacturers. No? Iniimbita natin kasi meron tayong pharmaceutical ecozone diyan sa Bulacan. No? Meron tayong pharmaceutical, medical and pharmaceutical economic zone diyan sa Bulacan. So, diyan namin sila ipapalocate. So meron na tayong isang Israeli company who we approve, no? Dadalhin nila yung technology, gagawa sila ng COVID vaccine na oral COVID vaccine.
Paano po yan? Iinom na lang.
Iinumin. Parang medicine. Yeah, it's oral COVID vaccine, no? Kasi yung mga types of vaccine natin sa ngayon kasi injection, di ba? So ngayon dumarami yung nag-i-improve yung technology. So meron tayong na-approve sa PEZA board na Israeli company who will introduce the oral COVID vaccine, no? Meron na tayong location, yung ating Bulacan Pharmaceutical Economic Zone. No? And then, meron din tayo sa Pampanga Ecozone ng PEZA. May mga spaces pa tayo doon na pwedeng doon itayo ang mga manufacturing companies of COVID medicines or vaccines. So, in fact, we are even attracting yung mga existing companies, no, who are manufacturing COVID vaccines. No? Yung Sputnik sa Russia, yung Pfizer, Moderna, and AstraZeneca of the US, no? Tapos yung, of course, the Sinovac from China, no? I know that they are looking for areas where to put up also their own manufacturing companies or medical medicines, pharmaceutical products, no? So we're inviting them to dito i-locate din ninyo yung inyong factory dito sa PEZA Economic Zone. So yan ang nakakapag-busy sa amin. So every month meron tayong global biz with PEZA and specific country, no? So like for example, we did the Israeli investors global biz with PEZA featuring the Israeli investors, the Japanese investors, the Chinese investors, the Taiwan investors, etc., etc. Then we are being supported by the foreign embassies in the Philippines and the Philippine embassies abroad. Meaning, halimbawa, this month is we will have the global biz with PEZA with the Korean, no, the Korean investors, no. That this will happen in November 23. Meron tayong global biz with PEZA featuring the Korean investors. So, tinutulungan tayo ng ambassador, Philippine ambassador to Korea and Korean ambassador to the Philippines. Tinutulungan tayo, sila ang nag-gather ng mga Korean investors to join us in the global biz with PEZA. No? So, ito yung ginagawa natin monthly, different countries. Kaya tuloy-tuloy yung ating pag-produce ng mga new investments, no? Tuloy-tuloy, maski hindi naman siya comparatively high in the past years na wala pang pandemic. Ngayon, at least tuloy-tuloy. At saka ang importante din, yung existing investors natin, hindi nag-stop ng operation at some even are expanding, no? Maski may pandemic. At saka yung ang importante din, walang umalis. Hindi nag-transfer to other countries because pinapabayaan natin sila, no? Hindi. Tuwan-tuwa ang ating mga investors. In fact, PEZA is enjoying the trust and confidence of our investors and even international organizations like, for example, yung Department of State, no? Can you flash please, yung statement ng Department of State of America?
Ayan.
Sinasabi ng Department of State na while the business is the business process daw is slow and opaque in the Philippines, but they found PEZA to be fast. No? Ito yun. While the Philippine bureaucracy can be slow and opaque in its processes, the business environment is notably better within the special economic zones, particularly those available for export businesses operated by PEZA, which is known for its regulatory transparency, no red tape policy, and a one-stop shop service for investors. So yun ang sinabi ni Department of State of the US, no?
And that's
and then meron din tayo from the IFC World Bank. Yung IFC World Bank naman, sinasabi din ni IFC World Bank na sa lahat ng economic zones worldwide, it is PEZA that shows the best practice, no? The best practice. Kaya nung last year or early this year, we were cited by the PCOO na few agencies who did not lock down themselves but continues to operate and create a positive business atmosphere is PEZA. No? So binigyan kami ng special citation. No? And of course, the Philippine Statistics Authority is also saying na si PEZA ang patuloy na nag-create ng investment despite the pandemic. No? So at least we are recognized, but foremost is the trust and confidence that we are enjoying from our investors and locators.
We need more passionate leaders such as you in the government. And we're...
Yung masipag din kasi ang mga taga-PEZA.
Yun.
Kailangan talaga, alam mo, Venice and Chito, no matter how good are our plans, no, pag kulang sa love, kung kulang sa love ang mga leaders natin, magiging puro theory lang, at saka dreams ang ating mga plano. No? But if there is love in our heart, love of country, love of our people, ay lahat ng imposible ay magiging posible. So again, it's really passion, love, passion, dedication, sincerity.
I agree with you there.
Ang kailangan.
Very well said, Ms. TG.
And on that note,
yes po, Ms. Charito, would you have any message to our viewers?
Yes, okay. So are we done with the program? so salamat. Sorry kasi masyado akong talkative.
No, we love the insight and the updates po.
And we can feel your passion in what you're doing in dedication.
Thank you.
With that.
Thank you.
We hope to
Venice and Chito and Manila Tribune for this privilege, for this opportunity.
Yes.
Na ma-share ko ang programa ng PEZA at ang ating mga visions for the country. No? So again, the Philippines is blessed with rich human resource and natural. Ang lang na lang natin yung mga sinasabing efficiency factors. Like we need to build more international airports and seaports and logistics hubs in every region. No? We have to put up food terminals in every region para yung ating mga farmers, fishermen, the small and medium enterprises can bring in their products so that doon natin dadalhin yung mga investors sa ating mga food terminals. And that is where they can discover who should supply them. No? Kasi isa sa mga efficiency factors na tinitingnan ng ating mga investors is yung ating supply chain. Kailangan lahat ng ating idle lands ay ma-utilize ito. We will be able to complete the supply chain para maging export-driven ang ating ekonomiya at saka yung ating pagkain and everything, no? We become self-reliant, wala nang magugutom na Pilipino, lahat ng Pilipino may trabaho, may livelihood, no? Lahat ng lupa natin ay nade-develop, no? So, ito yung mga efficiency factors, Ito yung ina-address ni PEZA. We also are encouraging our banks, no? So, recently may MOU with Central Bank of the Philippines. Central Bank of the Philippines, thank you, Governor Jokno, for supporting PEZA's programs. We hope to create credit facilities. So, sa mga bangko, lahat ng bangko natin dito sa Pilipinas, meron ng ecozone development and industries, no? Credit facility desk. So, yung mga LGUs, yung mga farmers natin, yung ating mga SMEs, yung ating mga indigenous peoples, no? We are inviting everybody, the private sector, yung ating mga current domestic enterprises, no? So everybody doing business in the Philippine economic zones ay may pagkakataon na mag-avail ng mga credit facilities, loan, grants, aid, no? We are also linking with financial institutions, foundations, etc., who can provide grants, aids, and not just loans para mabuo talaga natin ang mga economic zones sa bawat LGU, and again, as modeled by our existing ecozones. Like for example, in Cavite, dati wala pang ecozone ng Cavite, 2 lang yung syudad nila. Ngayon, 7 cities na sila, no? First-class municipalities, cities, ang mga LGUs, not less than 300 million ang share ng mga LGU sa kanilang mga ecozone and industry locators, no? So ito yung gusto nating mangyari sa buong Pilipinas. Kaya tama-tama yung AO18 ni Presidente Duterte na kailangan i-spread natin ang ecozone para ma-develop lahat ng idlelands natin, ma-restore back natin yung mga major industries of the Philippines. We can utilize responsibly yung ating mga natural resources, at ang ating human resources ay hindi lang resources but human capital because they are multi-knowledge, multi-skilled at saka world-class workers. So ito yung polisiya ngayon ng ating stewardship in PEZA. We want every Filipino to contribute to the economic and total development of the country. So with that, we will be able to attain peace and security. Maraming salamat.
Maraming salamat po, DG. I hope that you grace us again. Sobrang na-enjoy namin yung talk and talagang kulang. And,
maybe we can have that in the future again.
Please do.
Okay.
Okay po. Thank you so much.
Yes, salamat. Keep safe, everyone. Thank you, Venice, Chito, for this privilege.
Ciao.
And many privilege.
Ayan po. Mga katribu, thank you for joining us today. You can watch Straight Talk live every Tuesday at 10 a.m. on Daily Tribune's Facebook page and Tribune Now on YouTube for the replay of the episode. I am Venice Bautista.
And till the next time, I'm Chito Lozada.
Stay safe, mga katribu.